Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, your classes started. Other classes started.
Sir.
What are the classes set to start? Yeah, MTech students, you can tell. So, what are the classes already started and which are yet to be started?
So information theory is remaining, sir.
Okay.
Information theory and code.
Okay. So, remaining all are started, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. So, you are all adjusted at your respective places with sufficient network bandwidth and other things. So, anybody has any
Yes, sir.
issue?
No, sir.
Okay, good, good. Yeah. So, fine then. So let us continue. I hope you people got the material I have posted in Google Classroom, right? Yes?
Sir, no, sir.
No.
Yes, we got only PPT, sir.
Okay. Only PPT, is it?
Yes, sir.
PDF also we have.
Yeah. So remember the yesterday I have uploaded notes as well, right? So that
I'll add the link also, sir. YouTube link for this video also.
yeah,
I
YouTube video also.
Classroom.
Right.
Yeah. I posted, sir.
Right. So that
Yeah,
you
once
people
again
will
we will
get.
check it. So if it is not getting.
Huh?
Yesterday only I pasted that Google link, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
So yesterday Google link is posted as well as Google link for the video or recording of our class is posted.
Yes.
Also, yeah. Also, some of the notes on say signals and systems, mainly this is signal systems, their properties, etc. I have posted. Yeah. So. Yeah, fine, very good. So somebody Kartikeya said he got it. So others also hopefully should get it. Just check in case if few people have not got it. Okay. So do you people have a WhatsApp group among you, among MTech second year, MTech first years? Is there a WhatsApp group created in MTech first years?
Yes, sir. We have created WhatsApp group, sir.
Good. So he's who is coordinating?
Madan, sir.
Madan, good. So keep posting your questions or also your say discussions there, and each of you can help others to get the things properly, located or pointed. Okay. Fine. So we'll start the discussion. We'll continue the discussion we had in the last class. Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome back to the discussion on advanced digital signal processing course. So in this video lecture, online lecture, we will discuss on the course outline mainly. We will also discuss on some of the application areas where signal processing has been applied and can be applied. We will also discuss some of the recent developments in signal processing. I will be discussing on the evaluation criteria and grading procedure. So during that, you can also see that mini project will also be there. So to do mini project effectively, you should know at least some of the pending topics or say some of the recent topics in signal processing. So that we will discuss this in this class. Okay. So just to have a small recap, I would like to know from each of you, what did we discuss yesterday? So one point I would like to hear from each of you quickly. Manmeet, you can start.
Yes, sir. So we discussed about the what is the signal, sir, wherein we discuss about the modulation and demodulation, sir. 1D signals, what are those? What are 2D signals, sir? And 3D signals also you mentioned, sir. And you defined as ki how the question was asked by the MTech students, sir. When you discuss how we are defining the 3D or how we taking the dimensions, sir.
Yeah,
When you
fine.
explain it as the
That's
independent variant. Yes.
right. Good. So that is good enough. So we discussed about different signals, 1D, 2D, and 3D, and how to like how we use some examples for them. Okay. Yeah. So now I request Hari to tell any other point that we discussed yesterday. I am going. Yeah.
We discussed about the noise added to the signal, sir. Periodic noise removal.
Right. Right. And how did we remove it? What is the procedure we discussed yesterday?
Filters, sir.
Through filtering in which domain?
Frequency domain, sir.
Yeah, fine, good. Next, Pradeep. Can you mention one thing that we discussed yesterday?
So apart from that we discussed in frequency domain, like if we remove a few low frequency amplitudes, it does not make much of a difference, like we did do in image compression and all.
Right. Few low frequency or something else.
So low amplitude components of the signal.
Right, right. In the frequency spectrum, if you make some of the low amplitude frequency putting to 0, it doesn't affect much on the time domain signal. Okay, that's what we have seen, our space domain signal. Okay, yeah. So when the frequencies in frequency spectrum are very small, amplitude of frequencies are small, it means that they're very mildly contributing to the original signal. So we can remove them in some cases. Okay, at least to get a lossy compression, we can remove them. Right, good. So next, I request Harshavardhan. Any other point we discussed yesterday?
Scaling.
Right?
Yes, sir. That's true, sir.
Yeah, we discussed on effect of scaling on signal. Okay, so what scaling is it? Is it amplitude scaling or time axis scaling or stretching?
Sir, axis scale.
Which scale? Amplitude scale or time axis?
Axis scale, sir.
Time axis scaling or stretching. Okay, it is, in fact, it should be called as downsampling or say decimation or upsampling or interpolation kind of things we discussed. Okay, so there is a like expansion or compression on the time domain. Okay, not on the signal but on the time domain. Okay, right. So next request Girish. Any point that you remember that we discussed yesterday?
That's also, I think, sir.
Okay. So now Kartikeya, any other students? Niharika?
Yes, sir. Yesterday we have seen how does an cosinusoidal noise affect an image.
Right. Good. So how does a cosinusoidal noise affect an image? Okay, that also we have seen. So how the sinusoidal noise looks in time domain as well as in frequency domain. We have seen that. Right. Okay. So any other point that we discussed yesterday? One or two points are still I feel that we should add. Yeah, Madan, if you have not told, you can tell. Madan, Niharika, and yeah.
Most people covered everything, sir. Filtering and I mean how samples will take and amplitude. I mean threshold. How to put low. How we put the threshold according to the amplitude of signal, and filter. How to design filter. I mean design in the sense. Once you are looking at the frequency spectrum, which are I mean noise and how to make a filter and yeah,
Right.
almost these things we discussed.
Okay, so few more things that we discussed is say in amplitude demodulation and modulation. So especially in demodulation, we use some of the signal processing tricks. That will be very, say you can't say, for example, if I do amplitude modulation in time domain, the signal looks like this. So if I want to separate the low frequency and high frequency from here, do you think I will be able to separate? I will not be able to separate. Okay, we will only be able to separate from frequency domain. So what we do we also discuss this little more in subsequent discussions. See, why do we study signal processing as a big technique? So some of the methods that we so far discussed are, say, filtering a little bit and then removing noise through filtering, or doing little bit of time scaling. These are all the things, probably I think some basic things. But why we wish to study as a signal processing, advanced signal processing, signals and systems, and so on? So what is there in it? What are the other things you might have studied in your digital signal processing course that we have not so far discussed in the last class?
Yes, sir. They are filter design techniques.
Okay, we'll specifically discuss some of the filter design techniques. Good. So any other things I would like to know from those who have not spoken it today? Yeah, Niharika can tell, and 02. I couldn't see his name.
Yes, sir. Number 02 is Bhanath Rajunaik, sir.
What's your name?
Bhanath Rajunaik, sir.
Raju Naik. Okay. Yeah. So Raju Naik, you can also tell. So what is that actually? What are the other things that you have studied in your digital signal processing course during your BTech?
Sir, I forgot all the things, sir.
Okay, good. So then suggest Niharika to tell.
Sir, I have learned all filter designs and transform, digital Fourier transform.
What is the transform?
Sir, DFT.
Okay,
FFT.
what is that full form?
Digital Fourier transform.
Okay, is it
discrete time Fourier transform?
Yeah, discrete time Fourier transform. Okay,
Fourier
transform. Okay, so you might have studied some different transforms. Okay, transform techniques. So now the question is, say, again, suggest who have not spoken yet to speak. Okay, why did we need to study transforms? Why did we, like, what is the use of studying transforms and all?
Yes, sir. If there is a difficulty,
for analysis.
Sir, this is Vishnu Karthikeyan, sir.
Yeah.
So if there is any difficulty in analyzing the signal in time domain, then we'll go to the frequency domain.
Right.
So that it will be easy to analyze the signal in that domain.
Correct. Good. So some signals are easy to interpret and analyze in time domain or in one domain, space domain. Some signals are easy to interpret and even process or analyze in another domain. So we have a complementary information in time domain and frequency domain. That's why we are studying about time and frequency domain, understanding and analysis of these signals. Right? Good. Fine. So we will move on. So other thing that we discussed is about signals and systems. So we have also discussed about some examples for signals and systems. So did anyone remember? So how did we define a system? Yeah, some answer I wish to get.
Sir, for any signal to persist, sir, we need a system, sir.
Yeah.
That's how, sir.
Right. So a system, basically what it does is it processes the signal and then gives the output of the signal in a desired form. Okay. So that is roughly, say, desired form may be giving better representation of the signal, or giving, highlighting some of the information of the signal, or knocking off unwanted information in the signal, and so on. Okay, it may be in different applications. The kind of system that we reach is different. Okay, And signals basically some may generate from systems. Okay, some may be even say for the sake of understanding the system also, we may use different kinds of signals. Okay, so now fine, we will discuss that on that little more. Before that, actually, there is one more thing that probably is of importance, especially when you take Fourier transform. What is happening if you take Fourier transform? Say any, so if you people are comfortable in discrete time Fourier transform, you can tell discrete time Fourier transform. Otherwise, even you can tell about say continuous time Fourier transform. So what is that it's happening if you take a continuous time Fourier transform or discrete time Fourier transform? Again, yeah.
Sir, for non-periodic signals also.
Yeah, I assume that non-periodic signals you can do it.
Fourier
But
transform.
See, I'm basically asking what is the role of Fourier transform. I'm not very much interested. Is it say continuous time Fourier series Fourier transform or discrete time Fourier series transform, etc. So any Fourier transform, if you take, what is that you are essentially doing in it?
We are analyzing with respect to magnitude spectrum and phase spectrum.
Okay.
So we are changing the domain, sir.
Okay, you are changing the domain. Okay.
Representing the.
In order to know the number of frequency components that are present in the continuous signal.
Okay. Correct.
Yeah, representation of the same signal in Fourier, frequency domain, sir.
Right, right. So what essentially we are doing is, see if you have any signal with us, okay, if we take Fourier transform, what essentially is happening? So I am trying to analyze the signal in frequency domain, as you said, in another domain. And there I can see specifically what frequencies are highly present in the signal. That means whose magnitude is high, corresponding to which frequencies there is a high magnitude of importance in the original signal, and correspond which frequencies are not there or not important in the original signal. All that information I would like to analyze from the frequency, any Fourier transforms. Okay, depending upon the nature of signals, whether it is continuous time or discrete time signal, or whether it is a periodic or aperiodic signal, there are different kind of Fourier transforms that we take. Okay, so the mechanism to convert into Fourier domain or frequency domain differs based on the nature of the time domain signal, whether it is continuous time or discrete time, okay, or whether it is periodic or periodic, etc. Okay, so but the essentially what we are trying to do in all these transforms is trying to get the frequency content in the signal, right? So here there is one question for me. So assume that there is a zero, say a signal has all zero frequency. Okay, nothing else it has. What do you think such signal has? What may be that signal in time domain?
DC signal.
It is a DC signal, means I would like to visualize it more.
It's DC signal means period is infinity, sir.
It is?
Yes, sir.
It is a constant signal. That means, say, for example,
its periodicity tends to
periodicity is?
Tends to infinity.
No, periodicity tends to infinity, fine. So especially if you want to visualize the signal, you should tell me very simple words. Okay, what it should be. So
constant.
It is just a constant signal. So x of t equal to, say, if I tell in continuous time domain, x of t equal to 2, for example. Okay, is a continuous signal whose, say, it's a constant signal throughout. So see, can you tell why does the constant signal will have only zero frequency? What do you mean by zero frequency? I would like you to express in words. What do you mean by zero frequency?
Does not change with time, sir.
Right.
There is no rate of change with time.
Yeah, right. There is no rate of change with time, no variation with time. Okay, so it is all, so there is no variation in the signal. So there are no variations in the signal. So why I am stressing on this point is, I would like to relate this frequency term to another term which we easily perceive in the signals. Okay, so what is that term? Are you able to guess now? How do we relate? Say a signal has high frequency or low frequency or zero frequency. So just by looking at the signal, you assume that I will not allow you to take the Fourier transform and all. Okay, just you have the signal with you, and we would like to say roughly what are the frequency content. So overall, is it low frequency signal or high frequency signal and so on? How do you tell?
Rate of change of amplitude.
Rate of change of samples.
Yeah, rate of change of amplitude. Okay, across the independent variable. Okay, so that gives me, if there is a rapid variations in the signal, it means that it is high frequency. Okay, if there are smooth variations, okay, then I think it is low frequency. No variations, zero frequency. Okay, you got this understanding or not? Fine. So now assume that anyway, we will discuss in little later in more details probably. But say for example, if I just want to highlight the high frequencies in the signal, say I want to design a high pass signal. Say I want to design a low pass filter in time domain. Okay, so what should I do? And similarly, I would like to design a high pass filter in the time domain. So what do you suggest me to do? So low pass filter, will you be able to tell? See, in frequency domain, for example, I can apply low pass filter. I can take only low frequencies and knock off all high frequencies. But I would like to apply suggest what is the equivalent of low pass filter in time domain.
It is a sinc pulsar.
It is a sinc function because you are telling that the Fourier transform, inverse Fourier transform for a sinc, say rectangular frequency or a step function in frequency domain is sinc function. I want even simpler answer. Think of this say what is simple filter. Say you might have seen already some signals and systems. Okay, so by Friday what we will typically do is so our TA will frame some of the questions and I will also look at them and give it to you as an assignment just to see your say refresh your knowledge on systems like signal systems and their properties. Okay, up to convolution we will frame. Okay, because I think convolution will relate both of them. So up to that, some of the questions will be framed and given to you by probably by Friday. Meanwhile, on Friday, what I will discuss is I will discuss some of the mathematical details of say basic signals, some systems, and some of the properties. And probably up to that I will discuss, and I will try to introduce. When I introduce system itself, I will introduce what is impulse response and other things. Okay, up to that probably I plan to do it on Friday. Okay, so you be prepared. So in that systems, there are several systems that you will see even in Oppenheim and Schaffer, or you might have studied in Oppenheim, Wilsky. Now look at the systems now. Now with the understanding that the variation in the say in the signal is frequency, you now if you pass signals to some systems, say moving average system or a difference system or a say accumulator system or different systems. Now when you pass these signals into different time domain signals, okay, what systems, you try to guess what are these systems doing. Are these highlighting the high frequency, are these removing the frequencies, are highlighting the high frequencies, etc. So in other words, are they acting as low pass filters, high pass filters, etc. You try to see. Okay, as a exercise yourself. Okay, I will ask all those things which I mentioned in class. I may not immediately give you as in assignment or somewhere, but there may be some possibility, good possibility. At different points of time, I may question in similar lines in exams. Okay. So what I suggested is based on the understanding that the variation in signal is high means high frequency. Variation is suppressed means it is low frequency. Try to categorize different systems that you have seen so far. Okay. In time domain, simple systems. to a what are their operation? Okay, either low pass filter, high pass filter, or what is its operation it's doing? Okay, yeah. So somebody who is probably those who are not talking can mute their mics. Yeah. So now what we would like to discuss is, see, as we discussed, when you take Fourier transform, there are two things that you will get. Okay, so that means when you convert into Fourier domain, there are a magnitude of the frequencies, and there is a phase term also that comes along with the like in Fourier transform. Okay, so why do you think there is a phase term that comes in Fourier transform? So without going much details of Fourier transform, can some of you tell why does the phase come? Phase is also one of the important quantity that comes out in frequency domain. You can use the example of Fourier series, continuous time Fourier series, and then tell this. Can one of you tell? Since the time domain signal is only a real signal, when you apply Fourier transform, there are two things that are coming in. Okay, so because Fourier transform usually applied with complex exponentials. Okay, because of that, real and imaginary parts will come and phase term will come. That is fine. That is actually from the mathematical understanding. But try to can one of you try to give an explanation. What is phase when you find Fourier transform? Yeah. So phase is specifically, say if you have, say how does phase is defined when you have two sinusoids? Assume that there are two sinusoids given to you. I just want to find the phase difference between two sinusoids. Assume that their frequency is same, magnitude is same, and so on. Can one of you tell how, like what is the phase in that context?
Maybe delay in time, sir.
Right, very good. It is delay in time. Okay, so where, say for example, if one signal starts from here and another sinusoid starts from here, that delay in time for say its cycle may be, so we take a common reference where the cycle starts, and if you just see consecutive 2 cycles, this is the delay in time for these 2 sinusoids. Okay, that we refer to as phase. Especially in Fourier series, when you find, what are you doing in Fourier series? So what is done in Fourier series? Any signal, if I give I request some other student to answer.
Sir, in Fourier series, we will represent a signal in terms of sinusoids and cosinusoids.
Right. So what do you mean by representing in terms of sinusoids and cosinusoids? Okay. I will, yeah, you can tell those who assume that, say this is, assume that this is not discrete, say this is not continuous time Fourier series and so on, but assume that this is the continuous time Fourier, say continuous time Fourier transform. Okay. So there assume that this is say 0 frequency, say this is 1 Hz frequency, assume that. Okay, even say if I want to tell what, say how do I quantify this, say why this magnitude, how do, if I want to find a particular magnitude here, so how do I find? So I just want your understanding of what do you mean by finding different frequency strengths? How do we find it?
Coefficients in the
coefficient of that frequency.
What is that?
Frequency, sir. Coefficient of that frequency.
Yeah, coefficient of frequency, fine. But how do you interpret that coefficient of frequency? Say, for example, if I have say 1 Hz, this is 1 Hz, and the strength of this coefficient is some 10 units or whatever. Okay, so how do you relate this to 1 Hz? Say this signal is here. Okay, 1 Hz is here. So what is the relation between this 1 Hz and this signal?
10 cos
Huh?
some frequency.
Yeah, 10
10
cos.
to cos of.
Yeah, so assume
One
that
hertz.
it is 1 hertz frequency. So what we are trying to do is, see what this 10 represents is the correlation of cos 1 hertz signal, okay, with respect to the original signal. Correlation means, you people have heard of correlation anytime?
Yes, a little bit, not in the
Yeah.
deep.
So correlation means the, say, commonness. If I have two vectors, if I say that they are perfectly correlated, it means that both vectors are, say, horizontal like this. So if they are, it can be like this also. So both agree, if they completely agree in direction, then we say that they are perfectly correlated. Okay, agree in direction, magnitude, they are perfectly correlated. Okay, so in the similar lines, two signals, if we say they are correlated, it means that they exactly look same. So it is also sinusoid, this is also sinusoid. Okay, so but even though when they are correlated, there may be delay in like if I delay and compare, they will match it. Okay, that's where is the phase term comes, and the correlation of 1 hertz sinusoid with respect to this signal, that we consider it as the 1 hertz coefficient. Okay, the magnitude. So similarly, if there is a 1000 hertz here, 1000 hertz means what? Say if there is a 1000 hertz sinusoid, okay, if I correlate that 1000 hertz sinusoid with this, then the similarity between 1000 hertz sinusoid and the original signal, that is the strength of this value here. Okay, so like that, each frequency, magnitude here, amplitude here, represent the strength of correlation with respect to the corresponding sinusoid with respect to the signal. Fine, is this understood or not?
Yeah, once repeat it, sir. It's getting confusing.
Yeah.
Please once repeat it.
Yeah. So if you have a just 1 minute, I will see if I can. Yeah, you are able to see here whiteboard.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for example, if there are two vectors, okay, so I assume that this is one vector and this is one vector. Okay, so if I ask you to find say correlation between two vectors, have you heard of correlation between two vectors anytime? So it is, say, inner product, or say for example dot product between these two vectors gives a correlation. If this is vector A, okay, and this is vector B, then dot product between these two will give you correlation. Okay, so it is A dot, okay, A dot B. You know, right? Dot product means,
Yes,
you know
sir.
or not?
Yes, sir, we know.
Yeah. So in fact, the roughly you can normalize with respect to their magnitudes as well, but roughly the dot product will give you correlation. So when these two, when the correlation is high, say when the dot product is high,
angle between them is 0.
0, right? So if angle between them, if it becomes 0, then what will happen to these two vectors? These two vectors are completely aligned. Okay, so if I just leave the magnitude, then it means that both vectors are exactly identical. Yes or no? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Similar way, we say that if they are not correlated, say when they are not at all correlated, there is no correlation between these two vectors. For when is such situation occurs? When does the situation?
When they are orthogonal.
Yeah, when they are orthogonal, then there is actually, so for 0 degrees they are fully correlated. Or when the dot product is say for example the dot product is high or low?
The dot product is 0 when they are
0, sir.
Yeah, when they are 0, they are not correlated. Okay, when the dot product is high, they are highly correlated. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So when their dot product is 0 means it is say A dot B is 0, is it not? So they are like 90 degrees apart. Okay, cos theta will come here, right? So this is cos theta, correct or not? So I think
Yes,
probably you will
really
get
cos
better.
theta.
Yeah, it is cos theta. So with cos theta, you can show that actually. So when the both are correlated, then say cos theta is 1 in fact here. So normalized say correlation is high. If the correlation is high, then they are aligned. Okay, so in that case they are quite similar, we say. If they are not correlated, means that actually there is no correlation, means that their angle between them is 90 degrees. Okay, or cos theta is 0. Fine or not? Okay, so now similarly in signals, say if you have a sinusoid, assume that, okay, so I may not get a perfect sinusoid here, but assume that you have a sinusoid, okay, and you have some signal. So some signal up to somewhere it is like this, and after that sinusoid is there. Okay, so now what I will do, assume that this small signal, say let it be for 0 or to probably I think 5 units or something, 5 seconds or something. Okay, and this may be from 0 to say some 15 units, assume that. Okay, something like this. Okay, so now in this case, say if I would like to compare these two signals, say assume that first 5 minutes is up to here. Okay, so next 5 minutes is up to here, assume that. Okay, so first 5 minutes is up to here and next 5 minutes is up to here. Okay, and then the last 5 minutes is up to here, 5 seconds is up to here. Okay, now I would like to compare the signal with respect to the first 5 seconds, second 5 seconds and third 5 seconds, and my objective is to say among these three, okay, which is highly similar with respect to the first signal. Okay, let this be example here. Yeah, which one is quite similar? Yeah, 10 to 15. So here you are able to very easily visually see and tell. But the question here is, see, I want to do it as a mathematical process. Okay, then say I will first find out the dot product of this signal. See, this signal over 5 seconds, I may represent, assume with say 50 samples. Assume that actually, if I have, say if I have in 1 second 10 samples, I may have 50 samples in this 5 seconds. Then I will have 50 samples here, 50 samples here, 50 samples here. Fine or not? Okay, so 50 samples if I have, then what do I do? For first 50 samples, if I find the correlation, normalized cross correlation, okay, just as if I find for 2 vectors. Okay, if I find for all these 50 samples of this versus 50 samples of this. Similarly, I will also find correlation for 50 samples of this versus 50 samples of this. Okay, similarly, I will also find correlation of this 50 samples of this with respect to 50 samples of this. Okay, assume that it needs up to here. Okay, 5 seconds of this. Okay, then which do you think is highly correlated? Whose say dot product value will be higher? First one, second one, or third one?
In the second signal, the right side of the of those 50 samples. For that 50 samples, it will be higher.
Higher, right? Because why will it be higher? Because this vector and this vector are exactly same. That is why. That means, say for example, as you have seen, dot product is high, means that they are correlated. Okay, they are roughly same. Okay, in fact, if it is 1 means, say normalized dot product is 1 means they are exactly same. But in this case also normalized cross correlation, if they are 1 means they will be exactly same. If not, there will be closer. If it is high means they are closer. Okay, see here, dot product means say if A bar is A1, A2, A3 and B bar is B1, B2, B3. In that case, say if they are exactly same, what A equal to B, if I say, then what will happen to this product? This will be
1, sir.
Yeah, it will be 1. In the similar manner now, so you here also, if you have actually different samples, if they are exactly same, this is called correlation. Okay, correlation means you just overlay the sample on the other sample and you find out the element by element multiplication. Okay, and give the value. Okay, that is the give the value at whatever in 0 instant I started, right? So I will give the value at the 0 instant or at the middle instant as the correlation of this signal versus this part of the signal. Okay, similarly this signal versus this part of the signal, another correlation may come like that. Okay, so these values gives the correlation of signal with respect to another signal like this. So if I find the correlation, okay, correlation is essentially dot product. okay, of this signal with respect to the P part of the other signal that I'm finding now. If I find at every location, starting from every location, then I will get 1 correlation value as well. Okay. So have you seen any process similar to this correlation in your signals and systems course? Similar to this correlation, okay, finding correlation. So anyway, this is a multiple components, B1 and B3, similarly A3 is there. Okay, so have you seen any similar thing that you have, say finding overlaying one of the signal on another signal, multiplying element by element wise, summing up all the values, okay, and then putting at one location. Similarly, that's what we are doing here also, right? A equal to this, okay, similarly B equal to this, okay. So if I want A dot B, what I will do? A1 B1 plus A2 B2 plus A3 B3, and that is overlaying one on the other, summing up all the values and putting it as the correlation. Have you seen this kind of thing anywhere in your signal processing course or in signals and systems course?
Sir, like convolution.
Right, very good. So what is the difference between convolution and this correlation now?
Convolution is
in convolution? Anyway, you people, yeah, if you can readily tell, you tell. Say, assume that I want to do convolution of this signal with respect to this signal. What should I do first? What is the first operation?
Operation is time reversals.
Yeah. So you flip it and then do correlation. Okay, that is convolution. If you don't flip it, directly do element by element multiplication and sum it and put it, that is correlation. Okay. So convolution, you already know correlation, but thing is you were introduced convolution first. Okay, because of the signals and systems concepts. Okay, correlation gives the similarity, whereas convolution gives us the, say, response of a system. Okay, so that we will discuss a little more detail when we discuss on that. Okay, I will now move on to the discussion on slides. Okay, so if you have any questions on this, you can ask now. Otherwise, we will move on.
Is it necessary to?
Is it necessary to? Tell now, quickly. Yeah, please tell those who are telling. Is not there? Okay. So if you have any doubts around it, you can ask. Otherwise, we will move on. Okay. So why did we discuss all this is, see, for example, if I put this signal here, okay. So assume that this is also sinusoid and this is also sinusoid. This difference is referred to as phase. Okay. And similarly, when I have any arbitrary signal, when I decompose in frequency domain, what is that I'm doing? I'm finding out for any signal, the correlation with respect to the constant term, correlation with respect to the fundamental frequency that we call, say, one frequency, correlation with respect to the, say, the first harmonic frequency, okay, and correlation with respect to the second harmonic frequency. Okay, you got it or not? Okay, so that's what we are doing in frequency domain representation. That means, see, if I see the correlation with respect to the constant quantity, say assume that the signal is like this. We will start the signal. Okay, somewhere it is this like this. Okay, there is a small variation here probably, or rapid variations here, and then signal is like this. Assume that this is the signal now. Okay, this is the whole signal. Now, if I want to find out what are the frequency components in the signal, what will happen? Say this is a constant signal. So just to represent as a constant signal, I will represent like this. Okay. So this constant signal, if I correlate, that means wherever it is constant in the signal, in the say signal x of t, okay. So wherever there is a constant quantity, okay, wherever there is a constant quantity, or the time the signal variations are constant, there the correlation with respect to constant component, okay, or DC component will be high. Okay, So coefficient corresponding to this is proportional to the how much the signal has constant quantities. Okay, so compared to this signal, if I just check in this signal, there is no constant quantity here. Okay, so I may get the DC component as 0. In this, I may get reasonably some good DC constant. Fine. Now, if I see correlation with respect to this, okay, how much similarity does it has overall in this? That strength is given as coefficient of this. Okay, so this A1 is from, okay, the coefficient or C1 is from the correlation with constant term in this, correlation with fundamental frequency in this, correlation with respect to the first harmonic or high, little higher frequency here, okay, further high frequency here, and so on. Okay, this is C1, C2. Okay, this is how you get the coefficients. Yes or no? Understood or not? Huh?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I want some comments. Yes, yeah, fine. In which Fourier transform you have seen this? Or Fourier series? You have seen this in continuous time Fourier transform, right?
In Fourier series, right, sir?
Yeah, in Fourier series.
Fourier series.
Correct. No, first in
Trigonometric Fourier series.
Correct. So you have split into C1, C2, C3, C4 in Fourier series. Right. Okay. So yeah. So that's what we are expressing. In frequency domain, essentially, even though the representations are different from, as I said, based on the continuous time or discrete time, or based on the periodic or aperiodic. Okay. But mainly what you are doing in each of these things, in all these Fourier transforms, is essentially representing in terms of these, say, different frequency components. So the strengths are proportional to the correlation of corresponding frequency signal in the original signal. Okay? Is it fine or not? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you consider fully periodic and then you consider the sinusoid also from end to end, then it becomes Fourier series. Okay. If you consider it is aperiodic and these are also can be some part of it, then it can be Fourier or Fourier transform and so on. Okay, we will discuss that in more details. Yeah. Right. So I will share now the slides. Right. Right. Essentially, what now we try to discuss is, we have seen that when you take Fourier transform, there is a concept of phase that comes, because each of the frequency component may have different delay. Okay, that in some sense translates to phase. Okay, so in fact, when you take Fourier transform, we will not discuss the exact procedure now for two-dimensional Fourier transform, but just a observation that I will give now. What happens is, say for example, if you have magnitude and as well as phase, so both are important in their own respect. See, this is the plot where you have only magnitude and just there is no phase, in the sense that the phase term all is kept to 0 and magnitude is plotted here. And here only phase term is plotted and magnitude is kept constant. So among these two, which you see that the object information is more retained? In magnitude or in phase? Hello? Hello?
So you're audible.
Now you are audible, sir.
Okay. So where did you drop when I was discussing about the magnitude and phase?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
So I'm asking, among the magnitude and phase, where do you see that the information is more visible? That means the object can be perceived either from magnitude. I'm asking, which is the magnitude giving better clue or the phase giving better clue on the perception of the object? So this is only magnitude in Fourier transform. Okay. So keeping all the phase to be 0, and this is the only phase term that is plotted at each location, keeping the magnitude constant. Okay. So among these two, which do you see that it is more informative?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So phase is, so this indicates that phase is also equally important, especially in images. Okay, so this phase in some sense, as it gives the relative like variations with respect to say the standard frequency or whatever. So in some sense it gives the shape information in images. Okay, the like changing frequency information. So similarly you can see that if you consider say this is the original image, these two are original images. Here is face of donkey and the amplitude of horse is combined like this, and here is face of horse and amplitude of donkey is combined. Okay, so basically you can see that the face captures good amount of information, especially in when you consider different dimensional images, dimensional signals. Phase cannot be neglected in all the cases. Okay, right. So this is all the introduction on this course now. Also, since we have less time now, we will only discuss directly. We will discuss on the grading criteria. In the next class, I will discuss on the course outline and as well as the applications. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're able to see the screen, right? So anyway, outline, let me discuss. So what did you study in your BTech course overall in signal processing? So can one of you start from the beginning? So what you people have studied in signal processing course?
Yeah, what is the basic signals and what are the systems and
Right.
how to model a signal and how to model a system, and by modeling the
Probably you
system.
can stop it there, Madan.
Yes,
So request other student to take it forward. So what else did you study after introduction to signals and systems and their
Fourier
properties?
series, Fourier transform.
Okay.
Continuous time Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform.
Okay.
Laplace transform, jet transform.
Okay.
DFT also, discrete Fourier transform.
Discrete. Okay. So discrete time Fourier transform, discrete Fourier transform, and jet transform.
Jet transform, Laplace transform.
All these things you people studied. So did
Yes,
anyone study filter design as well? So did anyone study on the filter design?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what about others? I hope in all the institutes it will not be covered, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, it should have no filter design like this was.
Right. So mostly there is a commonness up to discrete Fourier transform and discrete Fourier series. After that, say some institutes may or may not discuss about filter design. Okay. So anyway, what we will do now is say we will start the discussion with say properties of signals and systems in the next class. Okay. So after I discuss them, convolution also I will discuss while introducing system. And then some of the say examples, only probably one example or so I will discuss in class. Okay. So other than that, I will only give wherever the important points are important points to be highlighted. I will highlight them and pass on, because these are the topics which you people might have studied in your signals and systems course as well as in signal processing course. Okay. So like discrete Fourier transform or discrete time Fourier transform onwards, we will spend little more time. Okay. So discrete time Fourier transform, I will discuss a little more time with some properties as well. And then jet transform, again, I will discuss some only additional things that are not discussed as a part of discrete time Fourier transform. Even the properties, I may discuss a few of them, but remaining, I would suggest that you should also be able to work out, okay, on the jet transform. So we will also see actually how these discrete Fourier transform, jet transform, etc. will be helpful for analyzing the systems. Also to find out the output, say response of the system in different cases. Okay. So then we will discuss about discrete Fourier series, discrete Fourier transform. That also I will discuss in reasonable extent, but may not be in very great detail. Okay. So, and then the filter design onwards, I will discuss with full details. In fact, from discrete Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform, you can see that the continuity will be there in the class all through. Okay. The discussion in class will be almost complete. Only thing is, you need to do additional work to make yourself comfortable to the extent that you will be able to tackle all the various aspects of it and understand like through examples you can practice, so that you will be able to do better in exams and so on. Okay, but the main content I will discuss, and then we will try to discuss on filter design and subsequent topics. Okay, so overall the idea is this. Okay, first we will discuss on the discrete time signals and systems. So these are the topics I will try to discuss in the class to some extent. Okay, and then we will move on to discrete time Fourier transform and its properties, and jet transform and its properties. Okay, so roughly in 2 classes or 2-3 classes, if I discuss this probably we assume that another 4 classes we will be able to discuss this. Okay, so then this we will discuss in another 4 classes also. Okay, so after that we will move on to the discussion on filter design. I will discuss only one example for each. Say there are some important methods of filter design which I will discuss. Okay, so I will briefly discuss upon realization of these filters. Say in real hardware, say if you want to realize a filter, what are all the necessary things, how to understand them better. From realization of filters also helps in understanding the like design of filters. So that I will discuss. Okay, so and then we will discuss a little bit about, say, in different other applications, how the transform analysis of the of systems and helps. Okay, so and then we will discuss about sampling and multi-rate signal processing little bit. So you people have studied about sampling in your BTech? Have you people studied about sampling?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you might have studied, but I will discuss in more detail on sampling. I will also discuss on sampling rate conversion, integer by integer, fraction or by fraction rate. And then we will discuss, if time permits, some of the efficient multi-rate signal processing techniques like polyphase decomposition. Okay, so I would also like to bring in a little bit of time frequency analysis, especially if you want to apply in many of the real situations any of the signal processing methods. Just not looking at time domain or frequency domain is sufficient. You should be able to look at it both time domain and frequency domain, and then in fact simultaneously, and get the characteristics of the signal, and then take some nice representation for the signal, or get some good inference of the signal and so on. Okay, so we will discuss some of the time domain, time frequency analysis techniques. Planning to discuss short time Fourier transform and wavelet transform under that, and we will see if time permits for us linear prediction little bit, which is very important in speech. In fact, those who are taking in speech processing this will be discussed there. Otherwise, we will also try to see a glimpse of this, and then we will also if we have enough time and bandwidth, then we will go for Kalman filter and other things. Otherwise, we will stop it there. Okay, so that is the outline of the course that we will be taking on signal processing and analysis. If you have any doubts on this or any suggestions on this, you can tell. Any comments? It's all fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyway, we will keep going, and time to time, anyway, you also get updated yourself. I will try to give some of the programming assignments in between. Okay, so especially for simpler examples I will give, and few filtering examples also I will give, so that actually in your BTech you might have studied some of the theory, some of you might have studied even reasonably well also, but coding I doubt actually on the, say, either in MATLAB or in any other platform, whether you have exposure to that or not is doubtful. So can you comment on it? So did anybody did little bit of programming assignments kind of thing in digital signal processing? Do you have lab? Oh, no or yes?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
any
We
yes?
have.
Huh? Yeah.
We have that lab.
You people have lab? All have labs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During lab, you have done all these programming. Some of the programming assignments also you have done, like say generating some different signals, doing convolution, doing say solving a small differential equation and or a difference equation to response.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Math and programs.
Yeah, MATLAB you people have done. Very good. So I think anyway, even if you have done, I will give so that it will help me to get a common assessment also to because it's important for subsequent anyway you also have as a part of this course like MTech, you have an advanced signal processing lab. So during that time anyway you people need to do a little bit more on that. So doing some programming assignments here will help you people to easily get on to the lab experiment exercises, etc. And then we will also be trying to see some of real samples like voice signal or image signal, application of some operations, either denoising or any other kind of operations. Okay. So this is the like grading pattern I'm thinking. So you people have final exam and midterm that are conducted across the institute. Okay, remaining things are all comes under continuous evaluation. So in continuous evaluation, what I'm thinking is, so class test will be there. Some say to assess how far you have done over say after 3-4 assignments or 2 assignments, we will have a class test. So once in a month, roughly, we can assume that you may have a class test. So to roughly see how comfortable are you in this, like in practicing the different examples of the things that we discuss in class. Okay, how well you understood, etc. Okay, so we will also have programming assignments and Viva. So since the class is small, not very big, I am thinking of even having a oral Viva just to know directly your understanding on different concepts. Say I may have 2 rounds of Viva overall, assume that. So, and then some programming assignments. Okay, that is 15% of the marks. And midterm, you will have roughly half the semester, mid of the semester. That is for 25% of the marks, I'm thinking. Okay. And final exam is for 30% of the marks. You will have at the end of the semester. And mini project, what I suggest is, even though you people are starting, but it is good to experiment with some of the real examples or practical problems. So there are good data sets in almost all problems or domains. So what I can suggest some of the topics. In fact, in the next class, I will discuss the applications and as well as the some of the topics for mini projects. Okay, which are maybe recent developments in signal processing, or maybe applications of signal processing to different other domains, or to some practical problem, even simpler application to practical problem. Okay, so we will see that, and that can be for 20% of the marks. So if you have any comments on this, you can tell. So grading pattern, especially you people should be comfortable, because I think you will be graded based on this. Yeah, you can tell if you have any comments on this. Any comments? At least yes or no you should tell, right? Comments means?
Yeah, no, sir. It is okay for me.
Okay, it's okay, fine. Yeah, any other, for others, what about?
Okay,
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, regarding the mini project, sir, how do we How do you evaluate it, sir?
By through presentation. So you will be doing mini project at your end, maybe with a little bit of coding in MATLAB or whatever. And data anyway you can download at respective places, and even on small data you can experiment. Once you complete it, you will be giving a presentation and a small demo. So if you have done on some, say, some results or demo will be there. Say if there is a noise in voice signal, okay, assume that if I just remove the noise in that, okay, and then the initial audio file like I have shown and the denoised audio file, both you will be showing like that. And through presentation it will be valid, right?
Right. Thank you, sir.
Right then. So if that is fine, we will go ahead with this. I will give more details on the mini, mini project, that different mini projects that you can take up. So I will give good details of so at least 10-15 problems, which you can even start looking at it and understanding and such problems. And so these mini projects can be taken based on your interest as well. Say if say army officers, they can take some of the mini project where ML component is also involved. So because I think after interpretation of signal, what we may wish to do is classification. Say even character classification or person classification or face recognition. So or even voice based speaker identification. So these are all different examples. So you can take one which is relating both also is fine. Okay. So other people, those who want to do a little bit more on recent topics, I will give some hints. So when I discuss, you can also think of in your understanding, which are all the like in which domain you would like to explore more, or in which area or which problem interests you, etc. So I will give the details later. Okay. So with this, we will stop this class now for today. And anyway, these are the references. As I said, to get yourself set, buy this book or get this book from somewhere. Okay. And be ready with looking time to time on the Moodle and as well as in the Google Classroom, what's happening. Okay. If you are not enrolled, make sure you enroll yourself. That is one important, very important thing. Okay. In the Moodle. You also start install or the standalone MATLAB, how to install. Sumant probably will send a mail. You install it. And I have sent a notes on signals and systems. You, especially properties and other things, you start looking at it, because I think I will not spend a lot of time on it. In 1 week, I will be just going to the next topic. So you may not get enough time unless you start now. So you look at this book, Oppenheim and Schaffer, look at my notes and try to do some examples and be familiar with it or comfortable with it. Okay. So with this, we will stop this stop class for today. Yeah. Okay, any questions you can ask? Fine, that's all. Okay. Okay. Bye then. See you on Friday.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Bye.